Coming up on Citrus TV News, Syracuse University celebrates Veterans Day with various ceremonies and festivities around campus this weekend.
And President Trump travels to Paris to celebrate the 100th anniversary of the end of World War I in his first foreign trip since the midterms.
And firefighters are frantically fighting wildfires in Northern California as thousands are evacuated from their homes. This is Citrus TV News, live at 6.
This is Citrus TV News live at 6, your campus news leader.
More than 1,000 upstate university hospital patients reportedly had their personal information breached. Good evening, I'm Conor Wight.
And I'm Rebekah Castor. According to Upstate, a former employee accessed the information without permission in the fall of 2016. Sensitive information, including social security numbers, insurance ID numbers, and credit card numbers, were breached.
Upstate says it will be providing in-depth training to employees on the importance of privacy and security following the incident. SA's Thankful for Syracuse food drive officially concludes today. The food and toiletries collected are stocking the shelves at the Hendricks Chapel Food Pantry and the Food Bank of CNY. Our reporter Lilia Wood visited Hendricks Chapel to learn about the program.
Season of giving, there's no better place to look than your own backyard. The Hendricks Chapel Food Pantry relies on donations from SU's community to stock its shelves. All SU and ESF students are allowed to utilize the food pantry, although the majority of its users are juniors, seniors, and graduate students who are not on the meal plan.
Food clears out pretty fast. We're averaging between 7 and 8 students a day, so yes, students are in need, so we're trying to provide as much as possible.
Right through these doors in the side of Hendricks Chapel is where students can go and grab food for the week from the food pantry. All they need to do is show their SU ID and they will be given a bag where they can fill with all the groceries and necessities they may need for the week.
Just because a student uses the pantry doesn't mean that they're in poverty or poor. Sometimes we just need just a little help.
There are numerous ways to lend a hand. Students can hold food drives, make monetary donations, or drop food off in Hendricks Chapel.
Usually they just come to the dean suite at my desk and they just come and ask me to either open the door or they leave food in the basket because we have a food pantry basket downstairs.
Hendricks Food Pantry also has a program called Adopt a Month, where organizations across SU are encouraged to adopt the pantry and collect food and toiletries to stock its shelves for an entire month.
Every month we'll ensure that we have food in the pantry without, having to ask.
As for what items the food pantry needs most?
Deodorants, soap, toothbrushes, toiletries are one of the biggest needs.
The pantry is open every day from 8:30 in the morning to 7. Lilia Wood, Citrus TV News.
Staying at Hendricks Chapel, ahead of Veterans Day this Sunday, Syracuse University is hosting events to honor the veteran community at Syracuse. This morning, a ceremony at Hendricks Chapel was held. The event's keynote speaker was Major General Peggy Combs, a former SU ROTC cadet who graduated in 1985. Combs is the highest-ranking female Army officer from Syracuse University. SU hosted a separate Veterans Day fun run earlier this morning, as well as a celebration at the College of Law. And tickets are rapidly selling for the 2019 Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. celebration in January. The Daily Show's Trevor Noah will be at the event, and though all tickets for a combined dinner and program with Noah are sold out, tickets for the main event are still available and can be purchased online or at the box office. The program will be hosted in the Carrier Dome and features a talk with Noah about his memoir, Born a Crime.
And now during the last home football game, many people were not celebrating when they returned to their cars to find parking tickets. And as the game tonight will soon be underway, our own Sunny Balkin is here to tell you the safest place to park your car tonight.
Thanks, Rebekah. With basketball season beginning, SU has restricted select campus parking lots on game days, making legal parking harder to find. Students with parking passes will not be able to park in such lots as the Women's Building North or Irving Garage. Some students are concerned that these restrictions might make them late for class.
Very annoying, especially when I come from off campus to class at night from 5 to 8 in Eroy, so having to park all the way down in Skytop. It's very inconvenient, takes a long time to get to class.
With police cracking down on off-campus parking, writing over 260 tickets for illegal parking at last SU home game, students like Brandon Fascia are concerned where they should be parking during basketball's impending home games.
Not really sure. Maybe just skip class. Not sure. Gotta figure it out.
The last basketball game that falls on a school night before winter break is Tuesday, December 4th. Some parking options for students on those days are the Ostrom Lot and Booth parking garage, or head to Manly and catch the shuttle to campus. Back to you guys.
All right, thanks, Sunny. Now, you won't have to wait until next fall to see the SU Drama Department's next production, a show called Next Fall. You can go see the play starting tomorrow at the Syracuse stage. The play centers around two gay men and their complex relationship. The show runs until November 17th.
Well, Rebekah, something new today, something that, we can always expect during our school year here. We got some snow.
I was definitely not expecting it today, though, Connor. I was ready for it next week, but it was definitely a surprise for me today. Our own weather anchor, Zachary Levine, was outside earlier today, and he's in the flurries.
Well, here we go, guys. Finally, the first sticking snow here in central New York. It's been going on all day. It started this rain. Now it's snow, and that's because it feels like 27 degrees outside. Currently 33 out here, feels like 27, and I'm expecting this precipitation to continue well into the night. Now, speaking of tonight, taking a look outside right now, looking at that radar, snow covering the entire central New York region. However, tonight, for the SU game starting at 7 p.m., I'm expecting that snow to stop and rain to start. It's going to get a bit warmer out there, and that rain will continue into the night till around 1 a.m. Now, tomorrow, I'm expecting the snow to start again. I'm expecting no precipitation at all until tomorrow around 1 o'clock, when I'm going to look for maybe 1 to 3 inches of snow. If it's cold enough, that snow will stick. Back to you guys. I'll have more in my full weather forecast.
All right, thanks, Zachary. Now, the New York Civil Liberties Union is holding an event at the Eat to Live Cafe on South Salina Street tonight. The event is named Racial Injustice and Economic Expansion and will be moderated by Syracuse's 4th District's Councilor LaToya Allen. The speaker will be Syracuse native and attorney Lanessa Chaplin, who received the State Bar Association's Outstanding Young Lawyer Award earlier this year. And in more local news, first responders rushed a 15-year-old boy to the hospital early this morning after a apparent drive-by shooting. The shooting occurred near Palmer Avenue on Syracuse's south side at around midnight. However, in good news, an official told the Syracuse Post-Standard that the injuries the boy suffered are not considered life-threatening.
And 2 people are in custody in Binghamton after allegedly painting swastikas on a local high school as well as streets and businesses. The Binghamton police identified William L. Ritchie and Andrew B. Carter through digital footage. The swastikas were discovered on Election Day near polling places, though no motive has been identified. And Governor Andrew Cuomo has plans to ban electronic cigarettes in New York. The governor announced his policy Thursday after the Food and Drug Administration said they would introduce age verification for online sales. If Cuomo's plan goes through, New York could be the first state to ban e-cigarettes.
And coming up after the break, a federal grand jury charges the alleged mail bomber with a 30-count indictment, the latest in the case against Cesar Sayoc.
And a federal judge blocks the construction of the highly politicized Keystone Pipeline. All that and more, don't go away.
Adventure can be found anywhere, but the best place to start is in the forest.
I spy something beginning with S.
Snow?
No.
Snow-covered trees?
Nothing to do with snow.
Head outside to discover incredible animals and beautiful plants that come together to create an unforgettable adventure.
Wow.
So grab your loved ones.
Don't even.
And explore a world of possibilities.
Come on, this way.
Visit discovertheforest.org to find the closest forest or park to you.
Looking for these? You drive buzzed. Could be one very expensive ride.
First, you gotta make bail. Then pay me to get your car back.
Your insurance premiums will go through the roof.
And my legal fees just keep adding up. All told, it could end up costing you $10,000.
Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Fancy pants peanut butter? A big screen television? You haven't even bought a sofa yet. A motorcycle? When your father finds out, he's gonna flip his shoes with 2 buckles. What do you even need 2 buckles for? Mr. Big Shot, buying whiskey shots for everybody in the bar. From the looks of it, I'd say nobody even remembers. Feed the pig.
If you see news happening on campus, in Syracuse, or across the nation, call the Citrus TV Newsroom, 315-443-1177, or tweet at Citrus TV News, your campus news leader.
Welcome back to Citrus TV News. Now, the man allegedly responsible for mailing explosive devices to Democratic figures across the country now faces a 30-count indictment filed in Manhattan federal court.
A federal grand jury charged Cesar Sayoc today with 5 counts of use of a weapon of mass destruction and more. Prosecutors say DNA links Sayoc to at least 10 of the explosive devices, including fingerprints.
He will potentially face life in prison.
After fracturing 3 ribs, Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg left the hospital this morning.
According to a spokesperson, the 85-year-old justice plans to work from home and is doing well. On Thursday, Ginsburg fell in her office and was later hospitalized at the George Washington University Hospital.
Ginsburg is the oldest justice on the Supreme Court, having beaten 2 forms of cancer as well as a heart procedure.
And a federal judge is blocking the construction of the controversial Keystone Pipeline between Canada and the United States.
President Trump calls the ruling a disgrace. According to the judge, when the Trump administration approved the construction of the pipeline, it ignored the potential environmental impact.
Trump signed the executive order approving construction just 2 days after taking office in 2017.
And former First Lady Michelle Obama is coming out with a new book, and President Trump has already weighed in.
In her memoir, Obama says she will never forgive President Trump for the role he played in the so-called birther movement that alleged former President Barack Obama was born outside the United States.
Today, Trump said that that controversy is expected from a book like this. He went on to say that he won't forgive former President Barack Obama for what he described as hurting the U.S. military.
And in more news from the White House, President Trump and the First Lady are in Paris today. They are visiting the French capital to attend a ceremony to commemorate 100 years since the end of World War I.
Officials say the president is using this moment to emphasize the United States' role in restoring peace to Europe.
This trip comes just days after the midterm elections, and many experts think he is using this trip to escape the election outcome.
Now, Rebekah, control of both chambers of the U.S. Congress has now been decided, but there are multiple races still undecided days after the 2018 midterm elections, including right here in CNY.
Yes, and here to break down some of the elections that are still too close to call is Citrus TV's Anthony Dabbundo. Anthony?
Thanks, guys. The final margins in both the House and the Senate are still in flux and could be for weeks. Right here in central New York, the closely contested New York 22nd District race is still without a winner. Now, Democrat Anthony Brindisi holds a slim lead of about 1,000 votes, but the state says there are still 17,000 absentees being counted. Now, absentees tend to skew more Democratic than other votes, but that doesn't mean Brindisi's lead is safe. And stop me if you've heard this before, but elections in Florida are razor tight. All 6 statewide races are headed to a recount, and the Senate race has become much closer. Republican Rick Scott led by over 35,000 votes, but late absentees and controversy in Broward County have brought the lead down to less than 15,000. Each ballot will now be recounted by hand. State estimates suggest there are still 20,000 overseas ballots left to count. And in Arizona, Republican Martha McSally held a 1% lead in counted votes until yesterday. Hundreds of thousands of Arizonans vote by mail or absentee, and the state is still counting votes. Once more votes did come in yesterday, Democrat Kyrsten Sinema took a small lead. She leads by nearly 9,000 now, with 450,000 still to count. The Secretary of State says we won't know the winner until at least next week. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Anthony. A 31-year-old knife attacker in Melbourne, Australia is dead after being fatally shot by police.
The man allegedly lit a car on fire and killed one person, injuring another 2. The Islamic State is claiming responsibility for the attack.
The 2 survivors were hospitalized, and their injuries are reportedly not life-threatening.
And in the United Kingdom, the transport minister is resigning over Brexit concerns.
Joe Johnson is publicly advocating a second Brexit vote after the 2016 referendum triggered the country's exit from the European Union. Johnson is citing the division Brexit has caused and says the current deal would be a, quote, terrible mistake.
Theresa May's government had said it will not hold another referendum.
And Russia is hosting peace talks on fighting in Afghanistan. In an unprecedented move, Taliban militants were in attendance.
Not in attendance were representatives of Afghanistan's government. However, members of the country's High Peace Council were present.
Russia's foreign minister says the meeting with Afghanistan's High Peace Council could pave the way for more direct peace talks. About a dozen other countries, including the United States, are attending the meeting. And coming up, 5 people are dead as wildfires continue to ravage Northern California. Stay tuned.
Come on, it's not that hard.
My big man fingers are having a problem with these little tiny buttons.
Whoa, watch it there. Your blood pressure's gonna go through the roof.
Tell me about it. I'm trying to learn how to get it down. Instead, it keeps going up.
High blood pressure can increase the risk for heart attack or stroke. Learn how to keep yours at a healthy range.
Ever hear a voice command? Just say text barbershop to 97779.
That's not what I said.
Just give me that. Now my blood pressure's up.
Every time I hear the alarm bell go off in school, I think it's an air raid.
A lot of houses in our neighborhood have been destroyed. I like to close my ears and sing songs whenever the bombs come close.
I'm worried our new neighbors won't like us.
But I know it's all gonna be worth it. I just want my family to be safe. But these are not my words.
These are not my words.
These are not my words.
Hey, look, it's those guys. Are you good to drive?
I'm fine.
How many did you have?
I should be fine.
You should be?
Go and step out of the vehicle for me.
See ya, buddy. Good luck. So turns out, buzz driving and drunk driving, they're the same thing, and it costs around $10,000. So not worth it.
From the CitrusTV Weather Center, this is SU's most accurate weather forecast.
And welcome back to CitrusTV News. Boy, it's a lot warmer in here. I was ready for some hot chocolate after being outside. Taking a look at tonight's weather, of course, the game against Louisville, 7 o'clock. It's going to be 39 at that point, so obviously when I was outdoors it was a little bit cooler. It's going to be raising back up temperature-wise, and we're going to be expecting some rain in the forecast for tonight. Looking at that radar here, rain pushing its way and that snow is done. However, looking at tomorrow morning, I'm not seeing a lot of precipitation until closer to the afternoon, which is not shown here on this radar. So afternoon time, maybe we're looking at a little bit more snow coming in. Looking at tomorrow, 36, as I mentioned, snow in the afternoon. We're looking at 1 to 3 inches. So if it stays cool enough, if the grass is cool enough, if the roads are cool enough, we could get some precipitating snow on the ground. Tomorrow, full look at your weather here. The middle of the day is going to be the warmest part, moving into the afternoon and the evening, but the morning probably your chilliest part is some of that snow from tonight. If it does stick, will stay on the ground. So snow after 1 p.m. and could accumulate. Moving on now to our current temperatures outside, 34 in Fulton, 37 down in Ithaca, Penyon at 37. So Syracuse, one of the coolest areas right now here in the center of New York. Moving on here, 5-day forecast real quickly. Saturday, Sunday, snow, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, snow as well. So Monday, probably your best day. I want to get to another story. 5 people are dead and thousands in California evacuating after their homes, from their homes as wildfires sweep through different areas across the state. 2 fires outside Los Angeles, the Hill Fire and the Woolsey Fire, forced 75,000 homes to evacuate as it threatens the Malibu area. And up north, the Camp Fire killed 5 people in the town of Paradise and has burned nearly 70,000 acres of land. These fires have been caused by unusually high wind speeds, low humidity, and dry vegetation from lack of rain. Californian firefighters have been working around the clock to try and quell the fires. Cal Fire Chief Ken Pimlott is warning residents to stay vigilant going into the rest of the week.
We are basically looking at a very significant, dangerous weather pattern through the rest of this weekend and into early next week throughout all of California.
Well, we've reached the best time of the year, and no, I'm not talking about the holiday season. It's dome changeover season. Syracuse football tonight and men's basketball tomorrow. All coming up next. Stay tuned.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
Hey, look, it's those guys. Are you good to drive?
I'm fine.
How many did you have?
I should be fine.
You should be.
Go and step out of the vehicle for me.
See ya, buddy. Good luck. So turns out, buzz driving and drunk driving, they're the same thing, and it costs around $10,000. So not worth it.
And now, your CitrusTV Sports Report.
Welcome to sports. I'm Zach Lang. Now, Syracuse football is number 13 across the rankings, and Central New York gets their last look at this team in person tonight. Friday night lights in the Carrier Dome will shine on a Syracuse team that has a chance to finish the season undefeated at home. Only the Louisville Cardinals stand in the way of a 6-0 record in the Loud House. Orange seniors like quarterback Eric Dungy, wide receiver Jamal Custis, and defensive lineman Chris Slayton will be playing at home for the last time before hitting the road for the final 2 games of the season. And Coach Dino Baber says they're just riding the wave right now.
If this was a wave, okay, I wouldn't say that we're on top of it, but we're catching it. And they're starting to get it. They really do. The seniors really have like 2 systems in them. They got 2 head coaches in them, 2 or 3 offensive line coaches, some of them 3 offensive coordinators. They've got a lot of stuff in them. And when it really starts to click offensively and defensively is when you really can't remember the old stuff, when you only have your stuff. And when it comes to that point, I think it really starts to come together. I wouldn't say that we're on the top of that wave, but I think we're definitely catching it.
Now, Louisville has beaten Syracuse both times in the last 2 years at the hands of quarterback Lamar Jackson, but now he's in the NFL and the Cardinals are winless in conference play. You can catch the game in less than an hour on ESPN2, which is available on Watch ESPN as well. For all your post-game analysis, catch Orange Press Pass at midnight on the Orange Television Network. Now, I mentioned it was dome changeover season, and that means basketball is back. The Syracuse men's basketball team hosts Morehead State in the Carrier Dome, and for those of you scratching your heads asking, why does that college sound familiar? Well, it's because Brooklyn Nets forward Kenneth Faried played his college ball there. The Orange are coming off a blowout victory against Eastern Washington, in which the Eagles' 34 points were the lowest ever recorded by an opponent in Carrier Dome history. For live game updates, ties, battle, and company, log into my Twitter at Z_Lang13. Tip-off is set for 7 p.m. tomorrow. And with the Dome crowded today and tomorrow, the 18th ranked women's team will hit the road to take on number 3 Oregon. This will be the first top 25 matchup of the entire college women's basketball season. Last season, Oregon reached the Elite 8 for its 2nd straight year after recording the Ducks' best record in program history. The Orange are coming off an 85-49 victory against North Dakota in the Carrier Dome, and tip-off is set for 5 p.m. tomorrow. Now, I mentioned former Morehead State player Kenneth Faried, and he and the Brooklyn Nets will be in action against a red-hot Denver team, Nuggets team tonight. The Nuggets are undefeated at home this season, and Denver's last home game featured a career-high 48 points. Career-high 48 points from guard Jamal Murray. Paul Millsap is listed as day-to-day for the Nuggets. For the Nets, DeMar Carroll is listed as out with an ankle injury, but is still expected to play through the injury. Game starts at 9 tonight. And on the ice, it's a battle between teams on the up curve. The 5-3 Red Wings are hosting the Rangers tonight in Detroit. The Red Wings lost 9 of their first 10 games of the season, but have rebounded and won 4 straight. The rebuilding Rangers remain in contention for an early playoff spot, sitting at an even 7-7-1 on the season. Puck drop is set for 7:30 p.m. tonight.
Well, Zach, I got one quick question for you. It's senior night in the Dome. Who's coming out on top?
It's got to be Syracuse. Louisville is not very good defensively. They're 127th out of 129th when it comes to rush defense in Syracuse. They're really good at running the ball.
Well, for all the seniors there tonight, I certainly hope that we get the win.
Yep, I'm definitely excited. And coming up after the break, we have one last look at your weekend weather. Keep it here.
This is the story of a boy who didn't talk for a long time. The boy liked things to always be the same. Any changes would scare and upset him. The unknown was an unfriendly place. The boy was very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where they couldn't get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. He wasn't trying to be mean, it just made him feel uncomfortable. Sometimes he would flap his arms again and again.
One day, I found out I have something called autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I found my voice and learned all the ways I could live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
I see you mobbing over her. Let's go. Let's mob. Let's crawl. Let's crawl. Let's crawl. Hey, yo, we mobbing. Come on, girl. Let's crawl. Hey, yo, let's crawl. Hey, yo, let's crawl. Hey, let's crawl. Hey, yo, let's crawl.
And welcome back to Citrus TV News. One last look at your weather right now. Saturday, tomorrow, 1 to 3 inches of snow, primarily in the afternoon. If it stays cool enough Sunday, less than an inch of snow. I'd say snow showers that day. Really not that much accumulation. Monday is your dry day. Tuesday and Wednesday, we're looking at more snow, guys.
So now, Zach, I'm going to the game tonight. It's actually my first time in the Carrier Dome as a senior, which is kind of bad. I'm a bad fan. But will I need to be prepared for snow once the game is over?
Be prepared for rain. It's going to warm up. You maybe want to bring an umbrella because when you leave the dome, chances are it's going to be raining outside, not snowing.
All right, all right.
That's upsetting. Nothing worse than going from, snowy conditions to rain. It creates all that slush. Now, potentially unpopular opinion, I'm a fan of when it continues to snow. Will it get colder going into the weekend? Will we see that snow appear again tomorrow morning?
It is going to get colder, not tomorrow morning, tomorrow afternoon. And if it's really cool enough, we could see up to 3 inches of snow on the ground. So obviously, if you're driving, be safe. Don't drive out there.
All right. Well, Zachary, thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, earlier on in the show, we mentioned that President Trump is in Paris this Veterans Day weekend to celebrate the 100th anniversary of the end of World War I.
And there were also ceremonies on campus earlier today to honor both living and fallen veterans. Now, you guys, I actually have two people in my family who have served before in Afghanistan. My cousin recently just came back from Afghanistan, so we're happy to have him home. And my uncle was over there last year as well. So I'm definitely thankful for the veterans that I have in my life. Do any of you have family members who have served?
Not on the American side. I'm actually the first American in my family. However, I do have a great-grandfather who served in World War II. He was actually part of the Dunkirk evacuation. Really? So, family or not, thankful to him, thankful to everyone else who has served. And Zach, I understand that your dad?
Yes,
served?
my dad is actually a veteran, almost got sent to the Gulf War, but he did not. And my great-grandpa is actually a World War II veteran and fought in the Battle of the Bulge. So very thankful that he is still here today, and he's still 96 and kicking. So,
well, that's impressive.
Yeah.
Wow.
Very impressive.
Yes, and that's all the time we have for tonight. Make sure to follow us on Twitter and Facebook at CitrusTVNews.com. For round-the-clock coverage, I'm Rebekah Castor.
And I'm Conor Wight. Thanks for watching, and have a great night, Syracuse.